Greetings to you, church. We greet you in the love and mercy and the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ. We hope we find you well. Welcome to the special service, a service that usually comes without prior notice. Are we too busy to give you a notice to prepare? Why are we always coming to you without giving you notice? Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. We are doing this so that we can get ready. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 33.
So likewise ye, when you shall see all these things,
Yes.
know that it is near,
Yes.
even at the doors.
Yes.
Verily I say unto you,
Yes.
this generation shall not pass
Yes.
till all these things be fulfilled.
Yes.
Heaven and earth shall pass away,
Yes.
but my words shall not pass away.
Yes.
But of that day
and
hour knoweth no man,
no man knows about it.
no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only.
Only the Father knows when is the Lord coming.
Yes.
Yes.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
What happened in the Noah days?
For as in the days that were before the flood,
Yes.
they were eating and drinking.
Just before the flood.
Yes.
Before the flood, what were people doing?
Eating and drinking.
Eating and drinking, Pastor.
Yeah.
People were eating and drinking while Noah was building the ark.
Yes.
Yes.
Marrying and giving in marriage.
Oh. Why is our Lord so tough on us? These are the things that constitute the greater part of man's life.
Yes.
These are the things that are at everyone's heart.
Yes.
Eating, drinking,
Yes.
marrying, and giving in marriage.
Yes.
Yes.
Until the day that Noah
So
entered
someone
into
right
the
now,
ark.
all this year,
Yes.
is focusing on the wedding day.
Yes.
I'm getting married on the 13th of December, 2023.
Yes.
So everyone, whenever they meet everyone, do you know that I'm getting married? They are living for that marriage day.
Yes.
And you can't focus on anything except your day.
Yes.
It's going to be the 13th.
Yes.
You choose this suit, you change it. You buy this gown and you meet another one and you change it.
Yes.
You are not satisfied.
Yes.
Which gown exactly should I buy? Why can't I buy the best gown in town?
Yes.
You are planning your marriage. And that's all that matters to you now.
Yes.
You would rather not come to church because of a pre-marriage day, you are meeting with the planning team,
Yes.
the organizing team. And in that moment,
Yes.
Noah will be building the ark.
Yes.
Mchenda kumchato. Noah ngane sando nezipikiri.
Yeah.
Okay. Until what?
Until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
So you must also know that this eating and drinking,
Yes.
it will stop.
Yes.
The day Noah enters into the ark,
Yes.
marriages will be stopped.
Yes.
All the banquets and the buffets and the dinners will be stopped.
Yes.
They were eating and drinking, elder.
Yes.
Marrying and giving in marriage
Yes.
until the day that Noah entered into the ark. This is what people do not know.
Yes.
All these plans that we have, they can be disrupted by a certain day which is called until.
Because people think they are the first to do these things.
Eh,
They don't know that zvakaitwa kare.
zvikuru ranei. Yes,
And knew not until the flood came.
that's the most terrible thing now.
Yes.
They were not only busy,
Yes.
but they were also ignorant.
Yes.
They didn't know what God was doing
Yes.
because they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage.
Yes.
They could not know
Yes.
what God was doing. They knew not that God is determined to bring this world to an abrupt end.
Yes.
Yes.
And took them all away.
Yes.
So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So when the flood came now, the flood did not ask, when is your marriage? Pastor, have you already dished out invitation cards? The flood took everyone away.
Yes.
Some were flying to a meeting. The flood took them away.
Yes.
All right. So shall the Son of Man be. This is how the Son of Man shall come.
Yes.
The same way the Lord destroyed the first world through a flood.
Yes.
People were busy. The flood just came and it destroyed everyone except those who had not ignored the call of God.
Yes.
You see, in the busy world where everyone is chasing after someone or something, we must still find time for our Creator.
Yes.
Because eventually, His say or His word is the one that shall only count in the very end. And you are going to realize that there are people who will not attend your funeral because they are busy at work. Have you ever realized that, elder, that your own brother will say, I can't come.
Yes.
My employer won't give me a compassionate leave.
Yes.
This brother of yours does not know who will attend his own funeral
Yes.
if everyone gets busy at work. What kind of a job is it that stops you from attending such important family matters? This issue yekuti tiri busy. Chaita busy yekutadza kuenda unoviga mwana wakazvara kana kunoviga baba wako namai vako vakakubereka. Uchiti ndiri busy.
Yes.
Izvozvo kana zvaitika izvozvo, you become an imbecile, a man who has no soul, a man who has no conscience, a man who has no connection to his family and to the things of God. He is a man without a purpose. The societies in which we live were designed by God to mirror a greater dimension of a society, the family of God, where when God calls, we must all run to attend to Him.
Yes.
And abandon everything else that we were doing. I was busy, but God called me, I will come back. I can't ignore my Maker. Because one day He will call me in a manner that I won't tell Him I am busy.
Yes.
You see, when God calls you today, He is training you to answer Him.
Yes.
So that when He calls you the final time, He won't say, where? What? Who? Someone is going to die just after his salary has been deposited in his account.
Yes.
And then he dies.
Yes.
Someone will decide on what to do with your money.
Yes.
God will call you. Before you withdraw $1 from the automated teller machine,
Yes.
before you swipe your debit card or your credit card on the point of sale machine in a supermarket, in Walmart, the Lord will take you. Someone is going to decide on what to do with your hard-earned money. That time, it is going to be the call of God that shall matter. Why should we learn to listen to God when He finally calls us home? Why shouldn't we start now to answer His call when He calls us? Kudeedzwa naMwari kekutanga wodaira kuri kudeedzwa kwokunzi chiuya madhezi ako akwana. Kwakutanga kunzwa Mwari for the first time. To hear God for the first time.
Yes.
When He is calling you to the grave. That's a miserable situation.
Yes.
That is not how His children were designed to function. We are going to respond to the call of God now, while we are still functioning in this earthly tabernacle.
Yes.
So these are the reasons why sometimes He don't tell you. One day, no one will be told, including you.
Yes.
You will die without notice.
Yes.
And your husband is going to say, but she was here. She just said she's going to get some warm clothes and come back into the lounge. But when we saw that she's not coming back, we went into the bedroom to check, and then she was gone. Unodedzwa, unotorwa usina kupuwa notice. Uya, timani zvonzi uchazoonera kana wasvika. Unobvuza chii? Hatitiri kuuya, come and see. Tete vaenda. Yeah. Verse number 40.
Then shall two be in the field.
Two shall be in the field.
The one shall be taken
Without notice.
and the other left.
Without notice.
Yes.
Two shall be plowing in the field.
Yes.
One shall be taken without notice.
Yes.
The other shall be left without notice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Two women shall be grinding at the mill.
Without notice.
The one shall be taken
Without notice.
and the other left.
Without notice.
Yes.
Read again, Yoda.
Two women shall be grinding at the
Without
mill.
notice.
The one shall be taken
Without notice.
and the other left.
Without notice. Verse 42.
Watch therefore,
Watch therefore.
for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come.
You see?
Yes.
Incognito.
Yes.
Incognito, Baba. Inonzi incognito.
Yes.
Yes. He comes incognito.
Yes.
Without notice.
Yeah.
So that's why we are here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
We welcome you to the special service. No apologies for the lack of notice. We are training you to attend to your Creator
Yes.
without notice.
Yes.
That's how you came, my dear, without notice. And that's how you shall go without notice. These formalities that are used to because you attend a church where these charlatans are trying to make you to feel comfy so that you are respected. Your schedule is respected so that the man of God sticks to the timetable on the billboard outside. We said the church service ends at 12. We must end at 12. My babo. Time dzaunoziva kuti dzakatanga kupi. Time yauri kuti time wakatanga rini wewe kucontrola time. Izvezvi Mwari akada unoita 3 months usingagona kugara chako chako. Mwari achiti takuona kuti time unoiverenga rini. Tanga kuverenga toni. Pesera wakutodzwa nevana kuti nhasi Tuesday. Madhetsi ashayiwa basa.
Yes.
Do you know that God can send you into a situation where time will become irrelevant to you?
Yes.
We have people right now in this life to whom time is no longer important. They don't care what hour of the day it is. Neither do they care what time of the year, what day of the week, what month of the year it is. They are now living in a certain environment where few things are now very important. Their time to sleep, and their time to take their medication, and their time to have a meal. Those are the three things that matter to them now. Some of these things you are demanding, you are too comfortable.
Yes.
You must be thankful to God for giving you a comfortable life. But don't spite God. Don't grow a thick head and think that you can control how things actually work between you and God. The word God, it means Almighty. It means Supreme Ruler. It means the one you answer to. Don't attend a church where you determine when to go to church and when to leave the church. That's not a house of God. A true house of God, you only live when you are either dismissed or you are praised by the things of this world beyond your smallest, weakest control. Otherwise, we must be submissive to the Lord with all that we have and with all that we are. One of the very important few variables which God uses as indices to check whether you are truly a believer or not. Do you live a life that accounts to God? Or you love to speak with your mouth, I am a child of God, I am a believer, God is my maker, God is my creator. To what extent do you account to your maker? Let's talk about your management of time. From the 24 hours that God gives you every day, how much does he get? And when God calls you to him, who calls the shots? Anotaura kuti zvakwana ndiani? Right now you were working, or some of you are still at work. Do you really know what you are working for? You are working for the toilet. Did you know that? If God tomorrow changes his mind and decides that the energies in our body do not need food to be replenished, do you think anyone will go to work?
No one will go to work. There will no need to go to work.
Let me simplify my question. If God takes out all our intestines and say you can go without your intestines, do you think you would need to go to work? You eat, go to work, get money, you buy food. Everything that you buy is summarized in the word food, yes, which is a proverb that represents consumption. Yes. Whether it's a house, it's a car, it's still food. You are buying a car to consume the services of a car. And this is what the stomach represents. In other places, the stomach is represented as a grave where death happens. Whatever food that you eat, when it comes into your stomach, your food dies. The next time, nobody wants to see what was in your stomach. That's why by each toilet there's a door, so that no one, by any mistake, no one should ever see what has happened to the food that you took pictures of last night. The stomach is a grave. We have a grave by which we walk with this grave everywhere we go. Yes. But you don't know that the stomach is a grave. That's where we work for it every day, just like graves, which are never full. Our stomachs are never full. After burying someone today, tomorrow we bury another. Yes. In some of the graveyards we are using today as fresh cemeteries, 200 years ago, they were also regarded as fresh cemeteries. Yes. So don't be too cozy with this routine. That's why Apostle Paul lamented and said, if in this life only we have hope in Christ, we are of all men the most miserable in 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 15:19. And he lamented and said, what? Should we live for this life only? There should be something beyond this life.
Yes.
Otherwise, in what way are we making any difference with those that came before us?
Yes.
What does he say in verse 32?
If after the manner of men
Yes,
I have fought with the beasts at Ephesus,
you fought with the beasts at Ephesus.
what advantage
What help does that give to you?
it me if the dead rise not?
If the dead do not rise, that means I'm wasting myself preaching.
Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we die.
If the dead do not rise,
Yes.
let's eat
Yes.
and drink,
And we die.
and tomorrow we die. This is what Matthew 24 was saying, Pastor. Yanga ichiti vaidya
Machinwa,
vachinwa
chirova,
ndobva vazofa havana kufa
Vakafa.
vainwa vachidya vachiroora nekurodza
Yes.
ndobva vafa
Yes.
ndozvakazitika hapana kungowa zvakazoenda vakazongofa. So if you look at verse 32, Paul was going back to Matthew 24 to what the Lord had said. They were eating and drinking and they died.
yes.
Yes. So if you say you are busy, it means you are busy eating.
Yes.
You are busy drinking. Tomorrow you will die.
Exactly.
And they will hire another employee who will be busier than you. And after he dies, they will hire another one. No one will ever see that it's a waste of time.
Yes.
Yes, our natural living is a waste of time if we do not find something that transcends out of this mortal world.
Yes.
Humanity's life is miserable if we take out the matter concerning eternal life. We are not different to the wild animals. They live to die. So we are here to focus on that which matters.
Yes. And
God is going to call you one day like we have called you today. God has sent us to call you. Paridzwa, the trumpet. Remember, Pastor, you taught about the trumpet.
Yes.
There is a trumpet which, when it is blown, it invites people to gather. The trumpet that invites people to gather and hear instructions. This is the trumpet. So if you are able to attend, you are blessed. Those who can't or who have not managed to hear this call, this trumpet, it's unfortunate. We hope next time they do. Because these are the most important matters of our life. So we are here to teach you the John series, part 25G, subtitled The Important Man. Aha. Aha. You see, some of us, we live for this assignment.
Yes.
We have nothing better to do.
Yes.
If you find me at any other job or in any other business, it's just an extracurricular activity. This is my core function. And I find joy to serve the Lord. I do not mind dying at the pulpit. It could actually be a blessing for me. Because I know that that's the most important thing that a man can do. I do have a prophecy, though, to give, which has been bothering me for some days. Prophecy comes. I don't seek for prophecy. I don't remember praying to God that He should give me prophecies. They just came. The assignment comes with a lot of gifts, and one of the gifts is a gift of prophecy. So I hate no one I love the Lord and I love everyone and everything that the Lord loves. I have no personal preferences and personal interests in everything and anything else other than that which the Lord has sent me to do. I delight in what the Lord delights in. I find joy in what Jesus finds joy in. So I have no permanent friends. I don't desire to have permanent enemies. I only have a permanent agenda. May he increase and may I decrease. Jesus must take the center stage of everything that we say or do, because it's all about Jesus Christ. It's nothing to do with me. I am nothing without Jesus. So it's a proverb which is also very clear. It's a prophecy that I'm seeing someone prominent somewhere. I don't know where it is, and I'm telling the truth. But I'm seeing someone prominent losing their life, his life, while coming back from attending a funeral. That is going to be something noteworthy. People are going to ask, did anything amiss, sinister, queer, suspicious happen at the funeral? Others are going to say he was too old. It's normal for old people to die. The fact that they are coming from a funeral does not matter. Is it an issue concerning politicians or prominent people in the country? Which country? That's something you may find out another day. But I also want to shed more light to the Ahithophel prophecy that I gave some time ago. Pastor, can you summarize in a few words who is Ahithophel in your understanding so far? I'm sure you know Ahithophel. There are people who actually think that he was your friend at some point. The biblical Ahithophel.
He was my friend.
Yes.
Why would they think like that?
Can you tell them who is Ahithophel?
Yes, I remember my Ahithophel is the one who actually he gave intelligence to King David when David was when his son actually rose against him to dethrone David on the throne, and quite a number of people followed the breakaway. But I remember Ahithophel's counsel being something that was going to bring David to the knowledge of what was happening, and also to make sure that in as much as he appeared at Ahithophel to bring what I could call a strategy
Yes.
to dethrone David.
Mm-hmm.
But his counsel now, it became the other way around. It never achieved the objective.
Yes. There's a scripture I want to read, Pastor, in the book of 2 Samuel, where this insurrection happened. It's chapter 16, verse 23.
And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So was also the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom.
Read again.
And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom.
All right. Read again.
And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom.
So it's amazing that I gave a prophecy and said the Zimbabwean situation has become toxic because people who are holding the hopes of a lot of people that maybe this one is going to deliver something that changes the plight of Zimbabweans' lives. There's a lot of hopes, you see. Yes. And some few months ago, I was insulted a lot when I described Chamisa's cowardice, and I said, this is not how a leader behaves. And others are saying, well, it's a strategy. Some were saying is strategic. If he becomes more vocal and he becomes more active, they are going to arrest him. So he's playing it safe. But I don't want to talk about Chamisa. I don't think there's anything to say about it. I said what I needed to say. Then what we are going to see is what is going to happen in this election now. Because when people insult me for speaking out, I like it. Because when a man of God speaks to a rebellious nation, the rebellious nation should not receive that message. That's a sign now that is coming from God. It is only when the prophet speaks to a holy nation that the holy nation humbles itself and say, we have listened to the voice of God. A rebellious nation is not able to receive God's counsel. So they rebel, they insult the servant of God. Some bay for his blood. Why can't we take his life, let him die, so that he will stop talking? The same people, you hear that they are holding a prayer meeting. They are praying to God, asking God to solve these very problems that God had sent that man of God to address.
Yes.
So God speaks to the same issues using the ones that he sent. The people reject the man of God who has been sent by God to address these issues.
Yes.
They insult him and they yell and they say, we will kill you if we catch you. And the next week, the same people conduct a prayer. They send a prayer to the same God. They say, God, we are suffering. Oh. It's a cycle. Pastor. Varanotuma munhu anonovataurira kuti nyaya idzi ngadziitwe so vanhu voti hatidi kuzvidzwa tokubani. Profita wokwana antaura zvinhu zvakadaro. After 2 weeks of waita national day of prayer, ubva kuti Mwari tine matambudziko kuno. Mwari adaire? Tumwari adaire mapenzi. The method in which God talks is prescribed by God. Yes. And not by man. Let's leave that one. So when people yell at me when I speak, I like it because it validates what we already have spoken about. We are in a cursed generation and we live in a cursed continent which is made up of cursed nations. Now, they yelled at me and said, we don't believe what you said. And so I spoke again and I said, there is no need for Zimbabwe to go for elections. And people said, we must go for elections and change the president. They are hopeful that they are going to vote and Chamisa will win. And ZANU-PF will surrender and Chamisa will become president. Just like that. Well, a sober-minded person who knows the Zimbabwean story will actually marvel at that myopia and simplicity. But that's how our people think anyway. We will be here, of course.
Yes.
After the election results are announced, we will be here as well.
Yes.
We will be here as well. So there's nothing to say about Mr. Chamisa. We don't want to talk about him. We want to talk about the Ahithophel prophecy. You see, it has become a tendency for history to repeat itself. How we got political leadership soon after the war in Zimbabwe, it's the same thing that is happening now. People were focusing on independence. But during the election time, when they were choosing a prime minister, at that time, a lot of manipulations took place. What was supposed to happen did not happen. And the election result that came out at that particular time did not fully represent the will of the people. And I'll speak, I know those who claim to have been in the war are going to say, you talk about something you know nothing about. Well, is that true? Is that true, really? It's not. As I talk right now, the contribution of Mr. Joshua Nkomo to the independence of Zimbabwe has been watered down deliberately to the extent that people do not understand that had things not been manipulated, the person who actually deserved to be our president was not Mr. Mugabe or the ZANU-PF candidate. It was supposed to be Joshua Nkomo. Tribalism played a bigger part to deprive someone who had worked harder to liberate our people from the hands of the colonial rule. And from the time the Unity Accord was signed until he died, people heard more about Robert Mugabe than they heard about Joshua Nkomo. And when you look at their credentials, you won't tell unless you are not naive now. You won't tell that in terms of political credentials, Mr. Mugabe was a junior to Joshua Nkomo by all standards. The only thing he was good at is manipulating the people, and also he was a chess player, a good chess player politically. He was very, very manipulative, and he played this game cunningly to become prominent. And because people died, Mr. Nkomo surrendered. He said, I'll take the vice presidency for the sake of the people. And the story was shut down. If you read the history books today, even those who went to school, I went to school in Zimbabwe, you hear very little about Joshua Nkomo, and you hear a lot about Mr. Mugabe. You hear very little about the Zipra forces. You hear a lot about the Zanda forces. But if you are not wise, you will not understand that the first military to actually attack and to decide to go to war against the white minority oppressive regime were not the Shonas, who comprised much of the Zanda people and the ZANU party. It was the Ndebeles. They fought the white men in the Ndebele war alone without the Shonas.
Yes, quite interesting.
So the history we know now is manipulated by the Shonas to suppress the role that was played by the Ndebeles. So Mr. Mugabe lifts his fist and says, we fought for this country. But that's not exactly the correct narrative. It was a joint operation. If you don't know, you should know. You should know. So this history was very influential in deciding and giving those guys who wanted to take power prominence. The electoral process was manipulated. We know this. I can stand in court and answer to these charges. I have very, very authentic sources. That Mr. Mkomo was not allowed to campaign in most of the Mashonaland provinces during those election campaigns. And by so doing, many Zipra supporters were not able to express their will. Some of them were abducted, they died. Some of them were beaten, just like what is happening now. Just like what is happening now. So history is repeating itself. Manipulation, selling out, receiving money behind closed doors, and becoming a sham opposition, one who goes on the front and says, we don't want this. And at night he sneaks through the door, he goes to the very opponent of his and he says, don't worry, you will not lose any election. I'm just there to show them a picture that you have got some contenders. But I have no interest of taking over. What do you give me for giving you no competition? So he goes back home with an envelope of money. So whenever things that are important are happening, you don't see him. He always comes to the people conveniently when people are looking for someone who is serious to actually bring a solution that can save lives. It's not about giving people a cozy life, a comfortable life. It's about saving life. Survival is what people need. Now, as I say now, I'm saying this, I want to clarify the Ahithophel. Because if you look at verse 31, chapter 15, verse 31.
And one told David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness.
So David was angry, wasn't he, Elder?
Yes, he was.
Because Ahithophel was his close friend.
Yes.
But because of money,
Yes.
because of political ambitions, Ahithophel betrayed David.
Yes.
And when Absalom rebelled and staged a coup against his father, Ahithophel defected to Absalom. So someone came to tell David, Mr. President, say,
Yes.
your trusted advisor
Yes.
is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David prayed to God. David said, oh Lord, I pray you, turn the wisdom of Ahithophel into foolishness.
Yes.
Don't you know? So these are very disturbing developments. In Psalm chapter 3, David composed a psalm when he was weeping against the rebellion of Absalom. What does he say?
Lord, how are they increased that trouble me?
Yes.
Men are they that rise up against me.
Yes.
Men there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God.
Yes.
But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill.
All right. We don't need to continue with this one. I just wanted you to know that how much it grieved David.
Yes.
He actually composed so many psalms. You could also read Psalm 89. You could also read Psalm 34. He talked too many times about the Ahithophel betrayal.
Yes.
So the disadvantage of being advised, Pastor, is that when you are being advised, you have to tell your advisor what you are facing.
Yes.
Because he can't advise you when he is less informed.
Yes.
So advisors eventually tend to know more
Yes.
about their advisees or to their clients.
Yes.
You see, if I ask you to advise me, you are going to say, what matters do you need advice on?
Yes.
And so I have to tell you. So if you advise me for a long time, you are going to know more and you become dangerous.
Yes.
So when David was told that his advisor has defected, he knew he was finished.
Yes.
And the only one who could help me this time
That's good.
was God. So he said, "Oh Lord, I pray you, turn the wisdom of Ahithophel into foolishness."
Yes.
So if you do not know, eventually Absalom rejected Ahithophel's advice. And because of that, Ahithophel hanged himself. You understand? Absalom akazoadvise kuna Ahithophel. Absalom akati ndezvako zvotaura izvi, handiteerere zvinhu zvakadaro. Because of pride, Ahithophel realized, if Absalom rejects my advice, I'm doomed.
Yes.
I have nowhere to go because I can't go back to David. So Ahithophel died. Ahithophel died because of David's prayer in 2 Samuel 15,
Yes.
verse 31.
Yes.
Did you know that God hears prayers of those who are obedient to him?
Yes.
I pray you, Lord, turn the wisdom of Ahithophel into foolishness. Because of that, Ahithophel met his death. Because David was a man of God. But my question is, so if you have an Ahithophel and you have no relationship with God, who will help you?
You are doomed.
Because when you have Ahithophel, you are going to need to pray to God to survive.
Yes.
Because Ahithophel will ruin you.
Yes.
He is not a good man at all. So, my advice to those who want to listen, I know not everyone will listen. Others will come back to this prophecy when they are disappointed, because they will be disappointed. And this time, their disappointment is self-made. My advice to those who listen to me is that we have a terrible situation in which people's hopes have been sold for a price. You hear what I'm saying, Pastor?
Yes.
People's hopes have been sold for a price. Someone received money and he disregarded what could change people's lives. But there is an Ahithophel behind these transactions. Like we said, Ahithophel is not a small person. Ahithophel is not a dandiate. Ahithophel is an intellectual. Ahithophel is respected for his wisdom.
Yes.
But there's only one thing that Ahithophel does not have. Ahithophel does not have a soul. So imagine you are meeting someone who is handsome,
Yes.
okay, to the extent of qualifying to be described as beautiful, even though he's a man.
Yes.
He's handsome, well-spoken. He's also an intellectual, experienced. Everyone comes to him looking for advice. But that someone has no soul. which is one of the most important things in humanity. What makes us a human is the soul.
Yes.
That person has no soul, it means he has no conscience. He feels for nobody, he cares for nobody but himself and his personal ambitions. So we have a cause that has been sold for a price. And the problem we have is we have not an initiative so far on, number one, I don't know if you have realized that in the past 8 to 10 years now, our awareness has become very, very low. People used to be aware, alert, conscious of what exactly is the problem.
Yes.
Now people do not know what is the problem. They also do not know who is the problem. They have no idea if these problems are like this, where do we start? If we are to diagnose this problem and offer solutions, where do we start? What is the starting point? Our people are increasingly losing interest in things that matter. They are now getting themselves bandages, band-aids to cover up the short-term pain for a short-term relief, but abandoning the long-term complications which are going to tax our population. So these are problematic issues. It's a prophecy. I'm speaking about things that happen inside closed doors, and people hope nobody will find out. Nobody will find out. I desire with my heart that everyone might find a good life. I desire that there be stability in Zimbabwe. I desire that someone can go to work and earn his salary and be able to put his money in a bank and come back after 12 months to receive his money without hearing stories, receiving his money in the right currency that he left it in, without that money having lost all its value because of policies. I desire that someone may go to work and come back home safe and healthy. I desire that people go to school and earn qualifications and find jobs. These are desires that every Zimbabwean has. But the problem is we have a bigger problem than these problems. Our problem is now we do not have the right people to prosecute these problems. The people we are putting hopes on are the ones who are being advised by the Ahithophels that I'm prophesying about. Now, David could not receive Ahithophel's counsel the moment he discovered that Ahithophel was rogue. So he prayed and said, Lord, take Ahithophel's life. That's what he said. When he said, turn Ahithophel's counsel into foolishness, David was praying that God punishes Ahithophel for his double dipping. Our problem is the people who are advised by Ahithophel today cannot pray to God because God doesn't hear prayers of people who are making a living by taking advantage of people's misery. This is the prophecy that I wanted to give about Ahithophel. If we were in a situation where things are going to normalize and someone asks me, so if we catch Ahithophel today, what should we do with him? You would not like to hear my response because you won't be expecting me to give you that kind of advice. This is the advice. This is the prophecy I wanted to give. So I said we should not do elections because they don't make any difference. They are actually not elections. They are cosmetic sham elections. Anyone who is not just, you don't need someone very wise and intelligent. You just need someone who is sober, can tell you that the situation we have in Zimbabwe are extremely volatile and inconvenient. They are actually situations that prohibit not just a free and fair election, but a proper election. There is nothing proper in this election. The commissioners that were appointed by Mr. Mnangagwa are sons of ZANU-PF Politburo members, which means the referee of this match is the son of the coach of the other team. How can you play a match when all the referees in that match, they are cousins of the coach and the owners and the captains and other players of this opponent team? Dynamos ne Capes zvirikutamba bhora. Referee anditika. Referee munin'ina wa coach we Dynamos. Captain we Dynamos. Muzukuru wa referee ari kurefura bhora. Anditika ma players ese ari kudefense vazukuru nevana vatete vana vekwabamudiki vana vekwabamukuru ndeve family yareferee anorefura sei kana zvakadaro. So there is no election to talk about. This is the biggest problem of democracy, because when democracy is so weak that when a dictator gets into the office of the president, he uses democracy principles to argue that he is a democrat when he is in essence an autocrat and a despot. He says they voted for me. You said I must be elected into office. Was I not elected? So democracy is a blanket where despots hide into, and they continue to stay in there forever. They use democracy to stay in power, but they are actually ruling with the iron fist. We have a dictator refusing to leave office, and his excuse is democracy. He appoints the chairperson of ZEC, he appoints the commissioners of ZEC, he appoints the commissioner of police, he appoints everyone. And now he commands them, he says, I will kill you if you don't do what I want. Who will referee such kind of a match? This is a problem. As a Zimbabwean, my advice to Zimbabweans is, when you go for this election, go with one of your eyes closed and one of your ears closed. Unovhota wakadai. Unovhota wakavhara one ziso wakavhara one nzeve. Uchiziva kuti zvandiri kuita izvi tiri kuvaraidza nguva kuteya nzou neriva. The money that we are going to waste on elections could actually build hospitals. It's a waste of money. But my problem is Ahithophel. Let's go into the message. My problem is Ahithophel. I want to ask Zimbabweans, for how long are you going to be intimidated by academic credentials? And what have these credentials do for our country so far? We have very, very grounded people with well established records of their dignity, their integrity, their professionalism. They are wise as well. But many of those people are now afraid to be involved in anything, because today it's no longer about who is able to do anything. Doing things right will cost your life, will cost your career, will cost your family, will cost you your peace and your business. We are going to need to revise our policy on who to advise us. We are going to need more than a CV, more than academic certificates, because they've clearly failed Zimbabwe. Not only Zimbabwe, they failed the rest of Africa. Academic credentials, doctor so-and-so, advocate so-and-so, barrister so-and-so, professor. Professor nonsense. When you listen to them using the English language, you will mistake fluency in a foreign language as wisdom. But when you listen to the content of their speeches, you can tell that there is no wisdom in this woman. There is no wisdom in this man. And this is how we end up with an Ahithophel in our midst. So the scripture said the advice of Ahithophel in those days was as what Pastor Hans Absalomite would say, chapter 16, verse 23.
And the counsel of Ahithophel,
The counsel of Ahithophel,
which he counseled in those days,
aitaka kuadvise Ahithoferi,
was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God.
Was Ahithophel an oracle of God?
No.
You see, Pastor, if Ahithophel gave you advice, he would feel like God is giving you advice. But for your own information, at the peak of his advisorial duties, Ahithophel advised Absalom to sleep with David's concubines. Yes. You know, Professor Ahithophel. Muri kuadvaiswa. Gaituone pana July apa kuti munoadvaiswa zvikabuda here. Pane zvimwe zvinhu zvokuti zvikazobuda vanonge vachiti kweta hatina kuzviona sei. Zvinhu zvakazvipachena kudai so. Gaituone. Yeah. Before I go into the John series, I want to remind you that the reason why I speak about these things, as much as people say, why do you talk about them? Well, first of all, I speak because it's my job to speak. If you are not my employer, you wouldn't know my job description, would you? So I won't explain my job description now because that's not what I want to say. But I speak also because there are people who are putting in their all because they are desperate for a quick solution. And we are going to lose lives, especially this election now, if those people continue to go all in as they do all the time. You are told that this is the last time we are going to win. So the energy in which they are going to do their politics, whatever they do, whatever rallies and whatever programs they do, they are doing it because they believe in people. Because if you are a leader, for people to follow you, they must believe in you. They must believe in your vision. They must believe in your objectives. What do you intend to achieve? So these people are the reason why I gave the reminder of this prophecy today. They believe in someone who they don't really know his true intentions. So they are going to be sent, and they are going to fight, and they are going to lose, and they are going to come back with wounds and injuries. Some will die. They are dying for a good cause. But the one who has sent them on this cause is not the right person. That's why you find people who are always sending people in the forefront. They never go into the forefront themselves. Some of them are good at reading and speaking marvelous obituaries at funerals. But they are not recognizing that those funerals, they are burying somebody's husband, somebody's wife, somebody's father, somebody's mother, and somebody's child. They have not themselves committed to a cause to that level where they are willing themselves to die. They play a very safe game. But they are good at obituaries. But my question to those who are going to run is, are you aware that all you are going to get from this running is a good obituary? Chauchawana nekumhanya kweso speech ichataurwa parinda rako iwewe. So are you saying let's leave things as they are? No, that's not what I'm saying. The method is wrong. The timing is wrong. The execution is wrong. The human resources involved are wrong as well. The type of a leader you have does not have the credentials of the battle you want to fight. What do? Zvakasiyana kufimba musikana ke. Because unomnyepera wobva waonzi kwandidi wobva wadzokera kumba. This matter is much more than courting a girl, a woman. Because you may not come back home. Kukarambwa nemusikana unodzoka kumba. Yes. Oti andatry kunyepa pastor unoti andatry. But aramba rozi ari kuvava. This time people will not come back home. Who will raise their children? Who will cook for those little ones? The caliber of people who fought for our liberation in the liberation war struggle, and the caliber of people we have now who are fighting for our liberation. Check those credentials and tell me that you find that they have the same caliber, the same zeal, the same discipline, the same commitment, the same patriotism. Ask yourself that question. I'm not saying people should go to war. I'm saying it's the same idea. You want to come up with a solution that serves the whole people. So in a way, you are liberating people, whether you're using a violent means or you are using a different process, but the objective is the same. Are you geared enough to confront the bull and say, let's go? Can you challenge the status quo? If you can't, why are you pretending to if you know you can't? Pastor, azvisinane here kuti zvikanzi naadzimai pamba pane gudo. Azvisinane here kuti ngatirichemei tese. Pane kuti ngatibudei. Obva wati kumukadzi tanga iwewe ndoteera. Mukadzi obva abuda so. Obva aurayiwa kana imbada. Iwe wozotaura speech parufu rwemukadzi wako. Takagara makore 24 ndarasikirwa zvikuru. Mangwana berero yauti kumwana mukuru buda. Mwana obva arumwa obva waperenga speech isingaite. Zvoshanda here. Method is real. People's lives are at stake. People's lives are at stake. I want you to know that I don't mind you insulting me. I don't even take insults like that. If you want to insult me, you have to find something else to say. Even those who say very, very obscene words, I don't take offense. In order for you to bring an insult that I can feel, you need to bring an insult that is packaged also with common sense, with wisdom. You must package your insult with decency. You must show me that you actually have an argument. Loving people should never happen at the expense of common sense.